later?
What did you see?
Is that a snack for later, Zander?
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Never mind.
Okay.
Caleb, you're new.
What?
How do you feel?
I'm a what?
How do you feel? Okay. I can't see you because of the light, but I'm assuming it was cool. Stop!
We're talking about it in the third segment. I'm going to talk about Hollow Knight Silk Song. You're going to talk about Texas Chainsaw.
Zander and Christian. Christian and Zander. Zander and Christian show.
Hello, welcome to the Zander and Christian Show, or as you might know it, the Christian Zander Show.
Hey!
I'm Zander Matrakis.
And I'm Christian. What's going on?
Today we got a wide range of topics to talk about,
Ranging from what?
ranging from movies to theme parks to even some video games.
Because why not?
Yeah. So, you want to just get to our first topic?
Yeah, sure thing. What do
All
we
right.
got?
So our first topic, it's actually how we kind of first bonded together when we first met each other, is movies that we love that everyone else seems to hate.
Which seems like a majority of the movies that we like, sadly.
I know, it does. It's very
Yeah.
strange. So we both have a movie that we feel very strongly that way about. Do you want me to go first or you?
Yeah. Which one? Let's see. Let's start off with good old Brendan Fraser. Let's start
Okay.
with 2001.
Can't go wrong with Brendan Fraser in 2001.
Let's talk about Monkey Bone.
Yeah.
So Monkey Bone, starring Brendan Fraser, the #1 not hit movie of 2000 and...
One.
Yes, just wanted to get you included there, is a movie that a lot of people would describe as a flop.
Because it was.
It was. But that's why there's people like us around to make sure that it doesn't go unrecognized.
That's true.
So if you want to include your stance on it.
Well, it was directed by Henry Selick, who is one of my favorite directors of all time. He directed films such as Coraline and James and the Giant Peach, and he actually has a new movie coming out this year, which is pretty exciting.
Yeah.
And it is definitely the most Henry Selick movie there is. Basically, all of his trademarks are in that film, just full force, for better or worse for most audiences. It is just very Henry Selick.
It's a very surreal movie. It's a very kind of all over the place movie,
Yeah.
but it still finds a way to keep together, I guess. It sticks together. It does have some random moments, like his sister. You know, after he goes into the
his sister's
coma.
very weird.
Yeah, the sister makes no sense because the whole time. Okay, let's first describe what the movie is. So the movie is about Brendan Fraser's character,
Who is a cartoonist who created a hit character named Monkey Bone, which, in what world would Monkey Bone be a hit character?
This one.
I don't know of anyone who would like Monkey Bone.
I love Monkey Bone. A lot of people just find Monkey Bone being that annoying little weasel who isn't a weasel, but he is a monkey, who dives into cat girls' shirts.
Yeah, he does.
Which
is very fun.
Yeah, it's understandable.
It changed Christian's life.
It actually did, a little bit. But we'll talk about that later. So basically, he goes into a coma after an accident occurs with some of his merchandise that he didn't even ask for.
Yeah.
Which is kind of weird that put him into a coma because after a giant inflatable version of Monkey Bone bigifies, it presses on his gas pedal, sending them in reverse in the car, and puts him in a coma, and the girl, I forget her name, is perfectly fine. Not
Yeah.
even a scratch. Not a thing. She gets out of the car and she's like, oh my God, are you okay? And that sends him into downtown.
Yes, and downtown is a bizarre nightmare hellscape in which, like,
It's basically run on people's nightmares.
yeah, it's
Which is so weird. Whoopi Goldberg's there, like everything.
Giancarlo Esposito's there before he was a big actor.
Yeah.
He plays the god of dreams and
Yeah.
stuff
So short.
before he was famous,
So
which is
short.
pretty interesting. And overall, it's just a very strange little movie, but we like it a lot because, I mean, I think visually it's just a phenomenal looking movie.
Visually, that is probably one of the only things people give it praise for. A lot of people
Yeah.
hate the story. A lot of people hate the characters. Brendan Fraser's acting could have been a little bit better.
Yeah, a lot of people hate the comedy.
Comedy was good. The comedy
Yeah.
was good, but the surreal landscape, like the fact that he gets there in a roller coaster, the whole like club,
Yeah.
like that scene where it's like it's like checkered. It's like black and white,
It is.
but it's so visually appealing.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. It's just overall visually beautiful movie.
Yeah, that's definitely my favorite aspects of visuals. But
Yeah.
honestly, I just think it's a fun movie to watch. You know, it goes by in it has pretty good pacing. It goes by really well. I feel like, well, I wouldn't say story or character-wise, it's like the best movie. It's definitely still fun to watch. Like, I think it works well enough as it needs to support those visuals and surreal nature.
Yeah, it really does. Again, a lot of people found Monkey Bone really annoying. I personally did
Love 'em.
too. I found him really annoying
Really?
too. But I just thought it was funny because spoilers.
Yeah.
Whenever he takes the ticket instead.
Yeah, and he goes into
And he goes into Brendan Fraser's character's body,
Yeah.
which was why am I forgetting his name? His character's name.
Stu?
Yeah, Stu.
Yeah.
Whenever he's in Stu's body and all for like the whole second half.
Yeah.
It was so funny though.
Yeah, it
like
was.
remember the whole bed scene where he jumps up on the canopy?
Yeah,
And
not
he's
that.
like all fours.
I love the scene where they're pitching the toy that farts, and all the bored
Yes.
people just have this look of wonder and magic in their eyes as
He
they
was
like
so
watch it.
pumped.
Like
it was great.
it's really funny, genuinely.
It's great. But going back, now that we talked about the fact that he's in a coma,
Yeah.
the whole story, his sister, going back to his sister, the whole time
She wants him dead.
Well, the thing is, there's no reason. Like they talk about it. They
Yeah.
talk, or she explains why she wants to. She explains because their dad died slowly, and she wants it to be like painless, wants it to be quick for him. But the whole time, she's like counting down the days the doctor
Yeah.
gives, and it's like, yeah, we give him like a month.
Yeah.
And then she's just like, how about we just pull this plug now? Let's just kill him
Yeah,
now.
let's just do
Like,
it.
Yeah, like let's just do it. And then he wakes up with
Yeah.
monkey bone.
Yeah, it's interesting. Well, I think we could both agree that it's flawed. Like for us, I think the pros outweigh the negatives in that film, and we just still really enjoy it.
Well, personally, again, unpopular opinion, I like the story. I think the story is entertaining.
It's
know?
interesting. It's different. for
It's
sure,
definitely different. It's experimental. It's surreal.
which is fun.
It is funny. It's a
Yeah.
funny movie. It's a really funny movie.
Yeah.
Personally, the only thing I really don't like about it is Brendan's acting. His acting is normally amazing. Like
Yeah.
Mummy, Bedazzled, like all of the movies he's in. So funny. He acts really well.
Yeah.
But in this one, I guess it's just the fact that
It's hard to act against stuff that's not there.
exactly. But he did bring it back with Looney Tunes back in action.
Yeah.
Like him and Looney Tunes back in action. He was much better than he
Yeah,
was
he did
in this
better.
movie.
He did better reacting to things that weren't there.
He did. But this one, he just seemed, he didn't really stand out as much as he does in the other movies, his character, because he was very like, any actor could have really played him.
Yeah.
He didn't really stand out that much, but again, it's Brendan, so.
Yeah. Well, while we still have some time, I want to go over a movie that I love that everyone hates. And it's actually kind of funny because I love this movie more than Monkey Bone, and people hate this movie even more than Monkey Bone. But I love it to absolute pieces. And that is the 2003 Mike Myers Cat in the Hat. Look at him. He's beautiful. Now, this is a movie that people vehemently despise. Like, unlike Monkey Bone, where people are like, well, the visuals are good. People just despise Cat in the Hat. And while, okay, I will admit, if you're going into it wanting a true, what? Are we almost done? Oh, okay. We're good. So, if you go into this movie wanting a true adaptation that sticks to all the classic things, has the real Dr. Seuss charm, all of that, yeah, you're not getting that. It is a really weird, kind of like messed up and perverted satire in a way of
Dirty hoe.
The Cat in the Hat. And I could get why people don't like it, but I think if you accept the movie for what it is and think of it more like a very weird comedy, I think it's genuinely one of the funniest movies ever made.
Well, you can really tell it was Mike Myers, though. You can really
Yeah.
tell. Like, the way he sold it, I personally think it's a great movie. I
Yeah.
love that movie so much.
I do too.
I love the jokes in it because it has a lot of adult humor in it.
The thing
but
is,
it also has a lot of just stupid jokes for kids.
I think it has jokes that are genuinely funny. I don't think
Yeah.
it's just ironic. I think the whole scene where they're making cupcakes is genuinely
whenever they
hilarious.
like with Gordon Ramsay, like him
Yeah.
being Gordon Ramsay and everything. The "Hang in there, baby"
Yeah.
poster that comes up.
Well, I just love it when he does the one line, "I'll kill you," and it'll look like a bloody accident.
Yeah, I'll kill you and I'll make it look like a bloody accident.
Like,
but like in the photo that we showed up there, let's get that back up. The photo.
He calls the thing a
Yeah,
dirty hoe.
The whole time, or the whole time, he's just like dirty hoe
Yeah.
for no reason.
I
And
know,
then
it's
just
very
like,
bizarre.
And then it flies back up and he's like, "I'm sorry, baby, I love you."
Yeah, there's a lot
Fake
of
drops
weird
it.
random things.
It is so random.
I have the theory that a lot of those aspects are improvised, and I think it's because Mike Myers did not actually want to make the movie.
No, but he
Which is
still
true.
killed it.
I know, and I think that's why. I think he was just like, I'm going to make this movie as weird and bizarre as possible, and he did, and I think it's great in that regard. It is not a great adaptation, but I think as its own weird comedy movie, it is really, really fun.
I just think it's impressive with the amount of work they put into the costumes and
Oh,
everything.
yeah.
They put so much into the costumes,
Well,
but the fact that they made like how many hats was it?
Like
for each of the
like
functions?
a ton
They made like
of
I
hats.
don't know, but I know they made a lot for
Yeah.
throughout that movie,
I,
especially
I
like
always love the set design of that film. It has really interesting sets where they're very like 50s suburban looking. But what's interesting is that they go to like downtown, and all of the stores don't have like signs with words. They're all symbols.
It's all like the hardware store is just a hammer.
Yeah, an ice cream store is just an ice cream cone. It's
Yeah.
really, really interesting, like to look
Yeah.
at.
Yeah, what was it? I forget what it was. Oh yeah, the fact that they have even like the fourth wall break for promoting the ride.
Oh,
at
I love that
Universal.
line.
Whenever they're riding, they were riding
Yeah.
Miss Squawk.
And again,
they're just this is amazing, and
It's
he's
like
just like
right at theme park, like a Universal Studios.
yeah, cha-ching, and then they go.
Yeah, and again, I feel like people I shouldn't say misunderstand, but I don't think they're willing to like open up to the movie because they see that scene and they just think it's awful product placement. But I'm like, it is really, really funny. Like if you open yourself up to the comedy of it, I think that's hilarious.
Yes, I think people laugh at it. They just don't want to admit it. They don't want to admit that they just love this movie because I feel like people just side with majorities.
Maybe.
Same with Monkey Bone. except
It
for the
definitely
fact
is a
that-
majority thing with Cat in the Hat. People are not willing to open up to that movie ever, but
Which makes no sense. It is a great movie. It is a funny movie with funny jokes. Like Humberflube
I
being
love
like
Mr.
such a
Humberflube.
germaphobe, but they have him oversell it so much.
yeah.
And how he like counts the amount, like his OCD mixed with his.
Yeah, and the thing
being
is
a
that like
germaphobe.
I'll rewatch Cat in the Hat, and there'll still be lines or moments I forget about where I'm just like, what? Like recently I was watching it like a couple weeks ago, and there's a line where they're like jumping on the couch, and Conrad's like, it's like we're at a circus, and then the cat goes, yeah, but without the drunken clowns with hepatitis, and it's like,
Yeah.
what?
It's funny.
Like where did that come from?
I like whenever he fixes up the couches. It's like you can't jump on these, not like this. They need
Yeah.
some adjustment.
Exactly.
And-
Like there's so many weird little things, but it's
Yeah.
really, I think it's really fun if you open up to it being a comedy that's bizarre and kind of perverted and messed up. I think it's really fun.
Yeah, like personally, I think it's a good movie. I think it's like a well-written movie. I think it is.
Yeah.
Personally, I do. And it's just funny, and no matter what, you just need to open yourself up to it. Which
Yeah.
is like a lot of movies. You just need to actually give it a try and not just go based off of reviews.
That's
and
true.
critics and everything.
That's happened a lot with like 2000s movies. I've noticed in particular.
A lot.
Like
a lot of them.
Yeah, it's just I don't know, and it's interesting. Like most movies that we love, people hate. Like one of my literal top 5 favorite movies is the Tim Burton Charlie Chocolate Factory, and there are people that still like will not open to that movie and are just like nothing will ever be Gene Wilder. And I love both versions.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I love Gene Wilder's. I love Johnny Depp's.
Yeah.
Like, they both killed it.
yeah, and yeah, exactly. And I really think like I don't know, people are just sometimes not open enough to trying it
Yeah.
because it is different, it is new. But you know, you just gotta try stuff new, viewers. You know,
Just one thing you can't, or just one thing you can't hate on are the musical numbers.
Oh, I love
like with the
musical
Oompa Loompas, especially in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I
Yeah.
feel like the original ones and Gene Wilder's are iconic.
Yeah.
Like the whole tempo.
That-
all the songs are just iconic, but in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, they just kind of take it
Yeah.
up and all of, like.
Tim Burton Charlie Chocolate Factory just has one of my favorite score. It has, I think, my favorite score in any movie from Danny Elfman. That score
great.
is amazing in every single way. I just love
Personally,
it.
as far as that, I love Edward Scissorhands' score.
Yeah, that one might be better.
Oh, it's all instrumental too.
Yeah, I just love how like the Charlie one, it's so wacky, but it's also so ominous. Like there's such a darkness to the score of Charlie. That's really like you wouldn't expect, but it works really, really well.
I'm not gonna lie to you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of surprised Tim Burton's version of that movie wasn't darker. Like
Yeah.
they could have killed off the kids, or I mean, not kill them
Yeah.
off. Like I like how he kept them in the
Yeah.
state of how he described they would like be fixed now.
I think people describe Tim Burton as darker than he actually is. Like Batman Returns got so much hate for being too dark, but then like just recently the Batman came out, and I think that movie's like 20 times darker than Batman Returns was.
Yeah.
You know, it's.
Batman Returns gets so much hate. It's a great movie.
I adore that. That's
I think it's a great movie.
Yeah, that's my favorite Batman. I
But
love
also, that's coming from someone who thinks Batman Forever was an enjoyable movie. It's not a good movie, but it's an enjoyable movie.
I can't go that far in terms of liking movies that are hated,
I
but
think it's just a fun movie to watch. I don't think it's a good movie. Again,
There's-
I think it's just a fun movie to watch.
Yeah,
It's very cartoonish. Jim Carrey
oh, I love Jim Carrey. in it.
oversold it.
I do
think
like
he
Jim
was
Carrey
funny.
a lot in it.
He was funny.
He was.
Like, it's just a funny movie to watch. Again, it's not something you're going to watch and critique because you know it's trash.
Yeah.
But it's a good movie. And
is.
Tommy Lee Jones, yeah, not that much to say about him on there.
There's not a lot to say about that guy. So those are some movies that people really seem to hate that we love.
Yep.
I don't know if it's time yet for the next category. Is that how this works?
Yeah. I think we're just going to keep going. What are
Yeah, I think we keep
What are
going.
more?
All right, yeah, let's keep
What
going.
are some more movies? Let's see.
Well, do we keep going with this talk or
Let's-
the next category?
Well, let's
Oh, we're
just-
wrapping up this one. All right,
we're
so
wrapping up this category. Okay.
what's a movie that you really love that everyone seems to hate?
Ugh. I just gotta keep thinking about that. One I do.
Wrap up the category, guys.
Okay, we're done with that category.
All right.
All right.
Well, that was fun.
It is. What next?
Stay tuned, everybody, because next up we're going to talk a little bit about theme parks, which
We
we both
are.
have very strong feelings on.
We do. Some popular and some
I almost said
unpopular.
opinions and feelings at the same time. Appealings.
Appealings.
We got some strong appealings about some
Opinions.
theme parks. Opinions, yeah.
Opinions.
Got some
Yeah.
opinions and some appealings.
Yeah. Again, some popular, some not.
Yeah.
Disney, Universal, major parks.
Yeah, you gotta love them.
Yeah.
Just gotta love them. So
So. And are we doing any commercials, or are we just going through?
Zander and Christian. Christian and Zander. Zander and Christian show.
howdy, y'all. Welcome back. We hope you enjoyed that 10-second break.
Just cutting right back to
Where I
it.
could cut off Christian.
Yep. Thank you. I appreciate it.
So, a lot is going on currently with theme parks. You know, we got, Disney is doing a lot of stuff. They just opened Guardians of the Galaxy. Universal is getting Epic Universe in a few
There's-
years.
A
lot of-
soon. soon they're going to be reopening The Mummy that they have shut down.
Yeah.
And according to rumors, and I think they confirmed it, that it is coming back with a new theme.
Ooh.
Now, I'm not sure if, because I have a little bit of a scoop, but not much of a scoop, because I heard that they were retheming it, but I heard they were just changing the queue line because the original queue line is supposed to be like a movie set, and how it's supposed to be like kind of a behind the scenes, like with the props and everything. But I heard that they were retheming it to be like in the actual movie and not behind the scenes, which I don't know how I feel.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about that because I do love it, but there's also the rumors of it being rethemed to being like the Tom Cruise movies.
That's kind of
Or movie,
Yeah,
because they didn't keep going with it.
that'd be disgusting. Well, that's kind of an interesting thing that's happened in general. That was sort of the thing with Universal and Hollywood Studios when they first opened, was that their whole theme was being behind the scenes of the movies. But now they've both changed their direction of being in the movies.
Which I don't like as much. I feel like having the behind the scenes stuff, having like the movie store, having the props, having all of that, like even just having the backlot tour in California is awesome.
Yeah, it depends. I will say that recently the Indiana Jones stunt show reopened at Hollywood Studios. And man, it is not that good.
No? What did they change about it?
Well, they didn't change anything. It's the same as it always was. But I'm just saying in general, I don't think it's that good. And it suffers a problem from being behind the scenes because that's the thing. It starts normal. It starts with Indy and he has the boulder and it's all fun. And then they randomly go behind the scenes and the show just like drags.
Like what? Like behind the scenes?
Yeah,
of the
they
show
spend
is
like
done,
5
or-
minutes just being like, this is the camera guy, this is the stunt person, this is that guy. Okay, let's do another stunt. And
Is it supposed to be behind the scenes of the show or of the movie?
of like how they do movies and stunt shows. It's like both. But what's weird is that they'll spend like 5 minutes talking about behind the scenes of all the people that are doing the stunt show, and then they'll spend 2 minutes on the actual stunts.
I guess I kind of understand that. Again, I know you aren't a fan of that.
Yeah.
I guess I kind of support that change because a lot of people just kind of want to know how it is. There are people who just want to get through it, people who know how it works. Some
I'm just
who
saying it's just interesting in terms of like how we've gone from being behind the scenes to in the movies. It's
that is one thing. Again, I feel like Universal specifically should, because that's what they base themselves off of. They should stay with that kind of theme of behind the scenes. Some things are understandable. Keeping it in the movies.
Definitely with at least The Mummy, I think it should be still
The Mummy,
behind
yeah,
the
because
scenes.
that's just how it is. Like,
But
that's
even like the
originality.
Simpsons ride's kind of themed around behind the scenes in terms of it being about you being in a theme park. The whole theme of that ride is that you're at Krusty Land. So even that ride, in a sense, kind of does that.
I'm mixed on that one because again, Universal's just kind of based off of their immersion, like their ability to immerse you in a movie or a show or stuff. Again, with The Mummy, I think they should keep it the behind the scenes.
I think so too.
They should definitely not make it how they did the Tom Cruise movie.
Well,
'cause that movie sucked.
Well, it's funny we're on this topic because, the most recent big ride is Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind, which I have gone on a good number of times. It is definitely one of my up there favorite rides. It's definitely my favorite roller coaster, but that ride had a really interesting approach to its theming in that regard that I really, really liked, and I don't think it's getting talked about a lot, which is that, so you do have the in the movie aspect of that ride. Once you're actually on the roller coaster, you see all the Guardians, you're flying through space, you're doing that. However, the actual first part of the ride is actually structured as though it's a museum that's being done by Epcot. Like, they fully say it's Epcot, and it's meant to be like a museum for this fictional planet of Zander. And it's pretty interesting, like that mix. And I really like how they did it. I think it's kind of cool.
That's cool. That actually is pretty cool.
Specifically, what's really neat is that when the ride is over and you're in the exiting spot, it's actually meant to look as though you're backstage in the ride. Like, they actually put up stuff that normally cast members would only see.
That's cool.
Yeah, they do.
On that, I have not been on that. I haven't been to Disney in a long time, so I'm going based off of old knowledge from years ago. But ultimately, because you've been to both Universal
I love both.
and Disney recently. With me, it's just been Universal.
Yeah, I've been to both recently, and I love both a lot. I think both are kind of neck and neck at this point in the theme park game.
Well, ultimately, as far as reputation, I vote they're about even nowadays.
Yeah, I mean, I also think in terms of like like what you're going for and what you get, they're pretty equal. Like Universal has some really good rides now.
Universal does like Spider-Man, Transformers, like all of those. Again, I guess the only difference is it is a lot more screen four-dimensional based.
You know, I think Universal gets too much hate for that because
do.
You know, because that was actually a thing that kind of blew my mind because I didn't get a Universal Pass till very recently, and I'd always heard that. And when I think of a screen ride, I think of something like Star Tours, where you're literally just
or like Shrek.
Yes,
When that was open,
I think
Shrek
of
4D.
that,
Rest in
but
peace.
I think there's a lot more to rides like Transformers or Spider-Man or even like the Harry Potter rides that
Like Forbidden Journey, I love how Universal integrates their screens with their Harry Potter rides.
Exactly.
Like, Forbidden Journey is awesome.
Like-
there's a video on YouTube
Of
which
the
we
lights
both
on,
watched of the lights on,
And it's amazing.
It's not at all how I thought it was.
Yeah,
and
it is truly amazing. Like, you can't just write it off like, oh, it's lazy because they use screens. Like it is
it's like a lot
really
more impressive,
amazing
too.
system.
Like
yeah.
it's impressive, and same with Gringotts. The way that they
do the
how they have
switching.
like how they have the roller coaster based around that, but also how they well, they keep the immersion up with the screens and also with how your cars operate as well as the track.
Yeah, exactly. Guardians does it too, and I just
That's awesome.
And I just really think that the screens get too much hate because, well, yes, I love myself a good animatronic.
Yeah.
I think screens can do just fine, and specifically, Universal tried doing animatronics, and they look like crap.
Well, they do have the one
In Hagrid, specifically, is what I'm mentioning. The ones in Hagrid was an on-screen ride, and those animatronics look like crap. I'm sorry, but they do.
I'm just gonna say, Hagrid's motorbike adventure ride is so overhyped.
I believe so too.
I think it is such an overhyped ride because for being still a new ride, it's still considered a new ride. There are so many, like, it breaks down so often.
Oh, it does.
To the point where it's
all the
so,
time.
to the point where it's a norm.
Yeah.
Like how the part goes whenever the track drops. It is so common that you just stay there for so long and then you move on.
Yeah.
Like that's so common. The animatronics, like Hagrid's, and like whenever you're going through that little
scorpion
hut
thing,
area, that whenever that works, it is so rare.
Yeah.
Plus, also, it's just not that impressive looking either.
No, and that's the thing too, is that there's kind of been this new trend in roller coasters that they're calling story coasters, which would be Hagrid, Gringotts, Guardians, where the idea is that they combine story-based rides with roller coasters. And Hagrid was marketed as one of those. And I really don't think Hagrid even holds a candle to those rides in terms of theming and stories.
Well, as far as the rest of them, I think it is a great story ride. Like, it immerses you in, like, the creatures and everything, like it with the unicorn. Even though it's just at the
but
end.
to me, it's about as immersive as, say, something like Velocicoaster is, in terms of putting you in a world.
Yeah,
Which isn't much. Like, I mean, it's there, and it's appreciated. I do prefer it having that than it just being a normal generic coaster, but
nowhere near Forbidden.
You look at other rides, and it's so much farther in terms of how they theme them
Honestly,
than Hagrid did.
Honestly, Tower of Terror, I think, does it just better.
Well, that does.
Even though they're completely different.
Well, that's what I'm saying. There's so many rides that just completely trump it in terms of theming, and I wouldn't have a problem with that because I'm okay with rides not having much theming. But they specifically marketed Hagrid being like, it has so much theming and so much story.
It does what Universal does best, and that's immersion. It really immerses. Like you're really immersed
in Hagrid.
Because of we're bashing the animatronics, but they still immerse you in the ride. Like overall, I think the theming is pretty good. They contain the ride.
I guess, but I just think so many rides completely just trump it in terms of that.
I mean, a lot do, but it's still
like I even think Gringotts, which came out 2 years before Hagrid, I think does a better job at that stuff.
Well, at the same time, they are different still because
I mean, I guess,
it does make do with the 4D.
I guess Hagrid is more thrilling.
It's more thrilling. I mean, granted, Gringotts has a lot of cool stuff to it also.
Yeah.
Hagrid's, they're both different. Because Hagrid's has multiple launches.
Yeah. Too many launches, if you ask me.
Gringotts has one, right? And that's towards the end.
It has like a couple.
Because I know the first one, it drops the track.
Yeah. Guardians has like 3.
Yeah. Velocicoaster has 2 maybe?
Velocicoaster is like 8.
No, but I'm talking like main
Like
launches.
oh, yeah.
Because it has the initial launch, and then it has the one that picks up speed to
Yeah.
get over that top hat.
Yeah, so there's a lot of thoughts on current rides that are coming out, some good, some bad. There's a
What-
lot coming soon. What rides are you most excited for that are coming soon to these parks?
Not gonna lie, there's none I can think of right now. I guess again, I'm more focused on I'm still trying to.
To get Disney.
Yeah, I'm still trying to get
That's
to
fair.
Disney. I really want to go on Rise of the Resistance. You say that it's kind of like a one and done ride.
I think it's phenomenal. I give it 10 out of 10, but
Yeah.
I do think it's one and done as far as.
Now, I know you go on Guardians a lot.
Yeah.
Is it just because it's a great ride, or are you just trying to knock out each song?
Well, it's that, but I genuinely think Guardians, it's interesting which rides feel like you need to ride them again and which ones don't. Because, yeah, Rise of Resistance, I think you can go on once and feel pretty satisfied and be like, I went on a great ride.
But it does have the multiple experiences, though, on which car you're in.
Not by much.
Because you have the AT shooting at you, then in the
Yeah.
other one you have like all the different.
It's not by a lot, though. But, I don't know. I guess with Guardians, it's just so much fun. And it goes by so fast, too, is the thing. Guardians, I will say, that's the one problem. It is very, very short.
Yeah.
It lasts about a minute and a half, which I will say the one thing that is nice about that is that it is constantly moving in that time. Like, it never stops for anything in that minute and a half. Like, it is always just going, which is nice, and that means you do cover a lot of track. In fact, it actually has, like, way more track in terms of length than most other roller coasters do.
Yeah.
Like, it actually goes through more track than, like, Rock and Roller Coaster does because it just goes so much, you know, just constantly.
Okay, I'm changing topic a little bit.
Okay.
I just started thinking about like the placement that Disney chooses for their new rides.
Oh, no,
Like
we're getting into this debate.
Well, I'm just thinking of like this. Why put that ride at Epcot when you could put that at Hollywood
boy.
Studios? And why
Oh,
put the
boy.
Mickey and Minnie like Runaway Train? That ride that replaced the Great Movie Ride, which makes
boy.
no sense to get rid of because that ride was so amazing.
Oh,
Why
boy.
put that in Hollywood Studios
Oh,
when you could put that
boy.
at like Magic Kingdom where it's more based around Mickey and Minnie?
Oh, no, oh, boy.
That's what the theme is more about. Magic Kingdom has more to do with Mickey and Minnie, while Hollywood
Well,
Studios has to do with movies.
okay,
So why put that in
To
Epcot?
first discuss the Mickey Railway question, have you seen the pre-show for Mickey's Railway?
Some.
Okay, the pre-show of that ride is no joke better than the actual ride itself. The pre-show is amazing. You start in a theater, and then literally the screen explodes, and you walk through the screen to get into the ride, which is amazing. That's like walking into the actual Mickey cartoon.
It
which
is, but
makes sense for Hollywood Studios.
But at the same time,
Magic Kingdom is a world where everything is real and already exists. Hollywood Studios is a world where you're jumping into these movies.
But again, it's based more around the characters than Hollywood
That is
Studios
true.
is. Like Hollywood Studios, they got rid of a movie ride that is legitimately the theming of the whole park.
Yeah.
Is movies.
Yeah.
So, why would you get rid of such an It's still such an immersive ride. The fact that it has actors in it, the fact that it's all based around movies, and the whole sequence towards the end of it, showing like the screens with all of it.
Yeah,
Why?
I
It
was
makes
not-
no sense.
I was never a big fan of the movie ride, I'll admit.
Now, I'm pissed off because that was my favorite ride. Of all
Really?
time. That was before, like the last time I went to Disney. That was my favorite ride of all time.
Wow, really?
And I went to so many theme parks. I nailed like Cedar Point, like all of those. Granted, they're different. They have the thrilling roller coasters, which a lot of people kind of seek for.
Yeah.
That was still my number one ride of all time.
I was never
got rid
super
of it.
into it, but I can understand your position on that. I still think Mickey makes sense for Hollywood Studios, but I can understand your position not wanting it to replace. Now,
I guess those two rides, the Great Movie Ride and kind of like the Backlot Tour, kind of go hand in
yeah.
hand.
Now, Guardians, I will fight on this hill till I die, belongs in Epcot. I know everyone says it doesn't.
It makes no sense.
Okay, here's how it makes sense. First of all, if it was in Hollywood Studios, it would have been oversaturated. We already have Star Wars Land in Hollywood Studios. Why would we have another space opera-themed sci-fi adventure?
Because it's film-based.
It is, but it's too similar to Star Wars, and I feel like it would seem like too much. Like,
Yeah, but what about like Mission Mars or Mission Space and Mars and like all that other stuff already in Epcot.
That is a good point, I will admit, but I don't know. I guess it's different when it's. I don't know. That is actually a good point, I will admit.
Yeah.
But here's one of the things that I will say, which is that Epcot did need a good thrill ride. Epcot, up to this point, had only really, like, the most thrilling ride is Test Track, and personally, if you ask me, I don't even think it's that thrilling. I mean, it's very fun. I love that ride, but
I don't like the Tron up or the newer version of it. I like when they actually kept it.
that's true. But the ride isn't nearly as thrilling as the new Guardians ride is. Guardians is very, very thrilling. And I think Epcot needed a thing like that just because, you know, it has such a focus on smaller dark rides, and it's going to continue to have a smaller focus on dark rides. So I think having that ride there, because every other park has some kind of really big thrill ride. Because Magic Kingdom is going to get Tron, which will kind of be that, or it has Splash Mountain, and then Hollywood Studios has Rock and Roller Coaster, Animal Kingdom has Everest. So Guardians acts as that for Epcot. It is a big thrill ride that, you know, is kind of, you know, that's a little intense, it's a little scary, but people love. And
Again, it's just such weird placement because they could have just done, like, they have around the world. Why didn't they do, like, a cartel themed ride or something like that? I don't know, just something. Like, they could have done something that didn't have to do with Guardians of the Galaxy, and they could have themed it better to the park.
that's fair, and I do get your argument about
It's
it
also weird that Test Track's there, too.
with the space stuff, but I do think that overall Hollywood Studios is a little, not just with Star Wars, but I think in general Hollywood Studios is a bit oversaturated. That is where the vast majority of Disney's new rides have been going.
Well, you see what makes more
'Cause-
sense? It makes more sense for them to have the Guardians coaster than Rock and Roller Coaster in Hollywood Studios.
It does, but you guys still have Rock and Roller Coaster.
Yeah, but it would just make more sense for that to be an Epcot
It does.
initially.
But the point thing is that Hollywood Studios has a very big oversaturation of new rides. I think it made sense to put it at Epcot, and I don't know. I think it works. I mean, you know, honestly, it's kind of nice to have that as a reason to go to Epcot, because if it was in Hollywood Studios, like, there's already so many reasons to just go to Hollywood Studios if you're going to Disney. You know, you got Toy Story, you got Star Wars, you got...
Galaxy's Edge.
Yeah, you got so much stuff. So it's nice to have another reason. Because, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, now, like, that's pretty much the only park I'm going to is Epcot. And I think that's going to be the case for a lot of people that didn't previously go to Epcot. That gives them a new reason to go. And, you know, and for a place like Disney, that's very important. You want to get reasons. You know, they have 4 parks. They got to justify them.
Well, that is true, but I feel like a lot of people go to Epcot, specifically adults, for, like, drinking around the world and all that.
Well, if you able to do that, I don't have respect for. But,
Yeah, but
you're
that
at a
still brings
theme
people-
park. Have
that
fun.
still I'm sure they're having fun, dude.
No, that's
but,
so okay. That is so stupid. But you don't need to drink to have fun at Disney. You're already at Disney World. Go on fun rides. Have, you know, meet Dumbo. Whatever. Have fun.
Well, again,
Why
it's
do you-
like different audience, or it attracts people for different reasons.
I guess, but I still just say, like, man, like, if you really need to drink to have fun at Disney, like, I don't know. I feel like you're missing stuff. Just go on Guardians. Have fun. Save the galaxy.
It is a good point. It is a good point.
Like,
Which,
I'll never understand that.
going back to let's do one for each. Going to just Disney amongst the 4 parks, which ride has the best queue?
Ooh, the best queue.
I'm
I'm a huge fan of ride queues.
yeah, me too. I'm personally gonna go with Tower of Terror.
That is a good one.
I'm going with Tower of Terror amongst just Disney World, not Land.
I am going to say Toy Story Mania.
You think? Even more than the Buzz Lightyear ride?
Yeah.
Really? The Buzz Lightyear ride is awesome.
No, I love the
that
Toy
ride.
Story Mania queue. I know that now the whole Toy Story Land looks like that, but that ride was the first to really do the whole everything made of toys look,
That is true.
which is just gorgeous. I love how it looks. They did such a great job with it. And it has the fun Mr. Potato Head animatronic that you get to talk to in the middle of the
Yeah.
ride, and that's fun. And it just, I don't know, it just really, like, it perfectly instills the feeling that you want to have going on a ride like that. Like, it makes this really feeling of, like, this is going to be a fun and wacky ride. Like, that's how the queue makes you feel, and that's how you feel on the ride. And I feel like it gets you in the perfect mood to go on that ride, which I think is what a queue needs to do.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Mine, I just love Tower of Terror because it
Yeah.
really makes you feel like you're just in this really
does.
rustic area. They add all the small details.
Yeah.
Like just everything about it just fits the tone. Like it makes you feel somewhat uneasy.
Yeah.
It's just dark, which just completely fits it. Have you seen Have you seen
Tartar movie?
Yeah.
No, I haven't.
It's been so long
But,
since I saw it.
Disney's been on kind of a lackluster thing lately with their queues. Like, Guardians is the best queue they've done in a while.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's one of the greatest, but it's definitely one of the best ones they've done. It's fun that it's like a big museum. But man, the past like 3 major Disney rides have all been a cave. Like Avatar, you're in a cave. Star Wars Resistance, you're in a cave. Millennium Falcon, you're in a cave.
What about Expedition Everest? That's
a cool queue.
It's a really cool queue, like
Yeah.
a research kind of based
Yeah, it's
queue.
similar to the Cali River Rapids queue as well.
That's the one thing I've never been on.
You've never been on Cali
That's
River
the
Rapids?
only thing. That's the only thing.
I
haven't
love
been on.
Cali River Rapids. That ride's so fun.
That's what I've been hearing. It seems cool.
It's-
I mean, there's fire, right? Isn't there fire in it? Is there fire, smoke, something?
There's smoke.
There's smoke. Boom.
There's a
enough.
brief bit where they tell you not to set the forest on fire.
Yeah, but
Which cracks me up because every single time I ride that ride, there's at least one like really conservative dad on there that's like, "This is the part where they tell us we need to save the environment," like
they're just
sarcastically.
like, I support this in every way, shape, or form. I'm going on this because they want us to save the world.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't want to turn this into no damn parking lot.
exactly. It's funny, but so
Save the dogs.
yeah. So I don't know. Overall, though, those are right now the world of theme parks is very exciting. A lot of new
It
stuff.
really is. Epic Universe, dude. That seems amazing.
I cannot wait for Epic
well,
Universe.
I know they're gonna be opening Nintendo, Super Mario.
I can't wait for
all that in
Nintendo.
California a lot sooner. Than
Well,
they
here's
are
the thing,
here.
though. Theirs is going to be way worse than ours. So we're actually in luck because in the California one, they're not going to have the Yoshi ride and they're not getting Donkey Kong. They're only getting the Mario Kart ride.
Yeah, which is.
So we're actually coming out on top. Yay for Florida.
Yeah, bro. That is amazing. And with Epic Universe having, they recently just shut down Monster Cafe. It's closed down at
Really?
Universal. They closed down Monster Cafe and they're, I think, demolishing.
Well, they're doing the
inside.
Monster Land in Epic
Well,
Universe.
Yeah, that's.
Which is so
nothing's-
surprising.
Nothing's given, but I have a feeling that they're just gonna be moving it over there because it's supposed to
Probably.
be based around Universal Monsters. I might be wrong. I might just be making this up.
I'm still surprised they're even doing a land based on Universal Monsters. I mean, I think it's great, but I'm surprised.
Well, think of all that they can do. Well, they already have like the Mummy ride here,
Yeah.
so they can't really go. I'm assuming they wouldn't reuse the Mummy, but like a Creature of the Black Lagoon water ride would be so dope.
That would be cool.
I feel like it would be kind of Jurassic Park-ish though.
Yeah.
If they went with that. But
I'd be cool with
just
that.
think of it. They have all the classic movies.
We know.
We're getting ready for the next topic.
Okay, we
You're
know.
saying this really loud.
Okay, so that's about it for theme parks. We're going
Yeah.
to go on to our next topic in just a bit. Stay tuned.
Zander and Christian. Christian and Zander. Zander and Christian show.
Hey everybody, welcome back. It's the third time I get to introduce us. Christian hasn't done it a single time.
I have not.
So how about we let him introduce our topic right now?
All right. So our next topic is actually going to be video games that we are hyped for, stuff that we are anticipating.
It's E3 season, and
It
of course
is.
with us having the worst E3, I think, in all of history, there's a lot to be excited about.
Yeah, we don't talk about it anymore.
Yeah.
Leave that in the past. But so I know that you are very excited for Hollow Knight.
Yes, the
Explain.
sequel to Hollow Knight, Silk Song. So Hollow Knight's pretty interesting. It's an indie game made by about 3 people in Australia. It came out in 2017, and it really just struck a chord with a lot of people, including me. It wasn't perfect, but there was just really something about it that was special, that we just loved. And they announced the sequel, Silk Song, 3 whole years ago, and it had been 3 years since we'd seen anything of it. And we kind of, I never really had any, lost of faith that it wasn't in development. I just figured, we had COVID, we had a lot of other junk. They're probably trying to make it the best they can. So I was pretty patient, and overall my excitement was it was average. It was of course I'm going to play it, sequel, one of my favorite games, but it wasn't I got to play it now. But man, that new trailer we got during the Xbox show, that raised it to a really high level. That trailer showed such a new level of polish and creativity and all these different things that just really made it seem even better than the original. And I just was not expecting that, you know?
Because initially I was expecting it to be a little bit more rough around the edges.
And
it was.
Yeah, I was just thinking it would just be more of the first game, which would be fine, but like, you know, it wasn't going to be something that blew my mind. But this looks like such a massive improvement from the first game in just about every way.
It just looks so smooth.
That like, now I just can't wait. Like, and you know, and luckily we're in luck because they seem to confirm it'll be out within the next year's time.
Which is exciting.
So, I don't know. That could mean by like May of next year, but you never know. It could be soon, could be sometime, but I don't know. I just know that that trailer really did a lot, and it's probably the game I've been most excited for in quite a long time. And, you know, and there's some other games too, but, you know, video games are weirder now. Everything's getting delayed.
Yeah.
It feels like we've heard of the same
Very
games for like 3 years.
Yeah. Well, ever since like COVID and everything.
You know,
some projects are still pushed back because
you
of
know,
COVID.
I think that's the thing with Hollow Knight, and I'm hoping a lot of games follow suit, is that Hollow Knight really just did such a great job of being like, hey, we know it's been forever, we know you might not care at this point, but we're going to give you a lot of reasons to care, and we're back. And, you know, there's a lot of games I think could use it right now.
Yep, that is true. But again, I feel like COVID has something to do with it.
Yeah.
Some projects are still recovering from it because they had to completely stop any form of work for like almost a year.
Yeah, and also, you know, they've been trying to fix, there's been kind of a quote-unquote crunch culture in gaming where a lot of stuff's kind of been rushed or sort of overworked, and, well, I think some of it might be a bit over-exaggerated. I do think that some games are rushing more than they needed to, and I do think it's better that we are trying to make games just take the time they need to instead of rushing them, but at the same time, man, we're greedy. We want games.
Yeah.
We want games to play.
It's like the whole Call of Duty deal.
Yeah.
Producing a new game, rushing it, not polishing it.
Exactly.
That was the whole deal with Vanguard and Cold War. But
Yeah, I mean, I'd rather they take their time, but at the same time, it's like delaying can really kill hype. Like, I think all hype for Breath of the Wild 2 has just completely dissipated at this point.
Yeah, well, I just have a feeling people aren't a fan of it being almost the same game.
I mean, I would have been if it just came out really soon after the first. Like, if that game had come out in 2020 and it had been very similar to the first game, I wouldn't have minded. But man, we are waiting just as long, if not a little longer, than the original Breath of the Wild, and we're gonna probably get a game that is not nearly as ambitious or as groundbreaking. And
it just seems like the same game.
I know,
honestly.
and that's really weird.
Yeah.
But man, I mean, Nintendo's a whole other. Nintendo is just.
Nintendo's Nintendo.
It's so funny to me, the best game Nintendo has made in like 3 years was Kirby and the Forgotten Land, and that wasn't even made by Nintendo, it was made by HAL Laboratories.
Yeah.
Like, I can't even give Nintendo credit for the best game they do in like 3 years. It's like, you didn't even make it.
Nintendo does what Nintendo does, you know?
I guess
and
so.
I guess that is not satisfy you.
They
not
just
satisfy Zander.
They just haven't made any really good games in forever. The last game that Nintendo themselves made that I was
Duck
like,
Hunt.
What?
Duck Hunt.
Going back to 85, are you?
Yeah.
No, last game they made that I was really in love with, and I was like, man, this is a really phenomenal game. Might have honestly been Mario Odyssey. Like, Smash Bros. Was made by a different company, so was Kirby. Those have been my two favorite games since. And everything else has just kind of felt a little lackluster.
I agree.
Or it just hasn't been my thing, and I will admit they've probably made some games that have been alright, but they just haven't been my thing. Like, I think Luigi's Mansion 3 was pretty good, but I just didn't like it as much as the original. I just prefer the original style.
Yeah, I agree with
But I think as a game, it was probably pretty good. And same with some of the sports games, you know. It's just, I don't know. I want big single-player adventures. And they just keep making sports games.
Yeah. Well, one thing I am excited for, though, as far as the multiplayer side of things, is the Texas Chainsaw game that's going to be coming out.
Yeah.
Now, I know we were talking about this before today. We were just talking about how basically every horror game that's coming out or something that's horror-themed is basically Dead by Daylight, having one person play as the killer and the other people are the victims, and they have to run away, they have to escape, they have to nail their objectives and get out. Now, we were talking about this game, and that's pretty much what we were saying it was going to be. But coming to find out as things are getting more released, that's actually kind of the case, but not the case. Because you know how Dead by Daylight is supposed to be like, just escape. Just get your stuff done and get out, you know, like work. This game, from what I heard, is going to be a 3v4 game. Where you play as multiple members of the family. You play. You have Leatherface, you have the cook, and the hitchhiker, and they each have their strengths and weaknesses. Which I found really interesting because they all just have certain skills, and the family has to work together actually, and have to be strategic. Because another thing is this game is supposed to be stealth-based, and you're supposed to carry out your objectives and escape.
I can't really think of any stealth-based multiplayer games. Like Metal Gear tried it, but it didn't really take off.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting to see like how that works.
Yeah, and it just looked really interesting. It's being put out by the same people, Gun Media, that put out the Friday the 13th game.
Yeah, that was really well liked.
Which they are still updating because they just added the.
I know that was a really well liked game.
Yeah, they're still updating it, and they just put out, I think, for Jason X.
Ooh,
Jason
cool.
X, where they have In Space, and they added a new. In Space? In Space?
I don't know.
I forget if that was in Space.
I don't know the
think it was in
lore,
Space.
but that sounds fun.
And they just added that new level and the skin for it, which is really interesting. It looks amazing, honestly.
Yeah, that sounds
and
cool.
It's making me want to go back and play it again. But yeah, ultimately, this game is just a bit different. It looks beautiful.
Yeah.
It looks beautiful. But yeah, I just thought it was really interesting that they're going a different route and allowing more cooperation, I guess you could say, on both ends, and how you have to work together as the aggressive sort and work together in survival.
Well, I hope it pans out well.
Yeah,
There's
I think it's gonna be great.
There's a lot of games I'm excited for, but like I said, it's interesting. Hollow Knight's the first game in a long time that I've been like edge of my seat. I really need to play this. Excited for it. Every other game's kind of been like, yeah, I'll play it when it comes out, and that's kind of it. And I kind of just hope that once it does, it'll blow me away. But you know, it's rare sometimes for that to happen. Like there's so many games, like Atomic Heart. I've been excited for like 2 years. But now it's at a point where I'm just like, it'll come out when it comes out, and hopefully it'll be really great and just blow my mind. But, you know, there's almost sometimes this feeling like nothing's going to blow your mind unless you go into it. Like, it's weird. Like, you'd think it'd be the opposite, but sometimes it feels like things only blow your mind if you go into them thinking they're going to.
Well, what was the last game that you can remember that just made you feel like that? What was one game that you were anticipating and it met your standards or above your standards? Or like what you expected?
In terms of anticipating, Wolfenstein 2 was a big one that I was extremely hyped for, and that completely lived up to them. But in the last couple of years, they've all been kind of surprises. Like Crash Bandicoot 4, I did not have that many expectations for, and that became like my favorite game of that year. And then Psychonauts 2, I didn't even plan on playing, because I didn't even like the original. I bought the pin. I liked it so much.
Pin, dude.
I liked it so much. I bought a pin.
Yeah.
Because it was so good. So, I don't know. So I guess that's kind of been what's sort of weird is that lately it feels like it's become less of this feeling of like getting excited and playing the thing and being like, this is great, and more like cautiously waiting for some and just hoping it'll blow you away once you play it. Which is a weird thing to wish for.
Yeah. Honestly, kind of a mixed opinion, popular, unpopular. For me, I just think it was Last of Us 2. I think The Last of Us 2, a lot of people didn't like it.
Yeah.
Primarily, I guess, the focus on two different characters when they just wanted more of the focus on Ellie. Spoiler alert, a lot of people expected Joel to get killed.
Yeah.
But
the way they did it, a lot of people didn't like.
Off. Yeah, they expected him to
I thought it was very bold.
Oh yeah, I do too. He could have definitely gone out in more of a cool way instead of like pathetic and getting beaten up.
But that was very bold.
Yeah, it was. Personally, I think it adds a lot to it because it was definitely shocking.
Yeah.
Like I didn't expect him to go the way he did.
Yeah.
I like how they had a lot more depth. They added more depth to the first game with this game.
Yeah. No, I really liked The Last of Us 2. I didn't like think it was perfect, and like I said, Crash 4 was my favorite game that year.
Yeah.
But I definitely thought it was very bold, and I liked it a lot more than most people, and I could definitely see why for you that could be a game that lived up to the hype. But you know, I miss that feeling of hype around games, and that's what was so nice about that Hollow Knight trailer. It was just so great to be like, I'm feeling this again, you know?
Yeah, because with all of like the letdown over the last few
Been
years,
a few, and
it's just.
like I said,
nice.
it feels like nowadays the games that really we end up liking are the ones that just kind of surprise us out of nowhere, which is fun and it's nice, but you know, there's also something cool about being excited for months and then having it pan out, rather than just randomly playing something and being like, whoa, this is actually really good.
Yeah, right. Gives you that feeling of excitement.
Yeah.
Which is just so nice.
Yeah.
I miss feeling that. I miss having feelings.
I know, but I mean, hopefully there might be some more games. Next year's already looking pretty packed for games. So, you know, that's fun, because already this is like the most we've had in a year in a while, and then next year's going to be big too. So,
That's fun. Yeah.
you know, hopefully get some good stuff in there. I'm pretty excited for the Callisto Protocol that was recently showed. That's kind of a Dead Space looking game.
Yeah, yeah.
I know they showed like 20 games of like Dead Space, but this one is like the best looking Dead Space game.
Yeah.
Sadly, I don't think it has bears with butts in it.
Yeah, no thick bears.
I wish it did.
No juice buns. No
Yeah.
juice bun bears.
No.
That would make.
No hot cross buns.
They should add that into the Dead Space remake game.
They should.
Yeah, like that just looks cool.
So many.
It looks graphically beautiful.
There's so many remakes coming out.
Yeah.
Do you like all these remakes?
No. I just feel like we need more ideas. We need more original ideas. We shouldn't keep expanding on things that are already.
There's some games that I like getting remaked, and others where I'm like, come on, man. Like, I mean, of course, everyone's feeling the way about the Last of Us remake, but
It makes no sense. It's still a newer game.
the big one that I'm feeling the way about that not a ton of people are feeling this way about is Resident Evil 4. I really don't get why that needs a remake.
I don't think it does. I think they could have. Well, they already have that on PS4.
Oh, Resident Evil 4 has been re-released like 20 trillion times. You can play it on like PS4, Xbox, Switch, like everything you can play the original on. And the original holds up perfectly.
The original was such a perfect game.
I know. And the thing is that they're taking, I mean, my hope is at the very least maybe they change things so much that it just feels like a different game.
I think they're keeping just. I think.
I'd rather,
keeping it fairly like the original.
I'd rather they just change everything. If you're gonna remake it, just make it a whole new thing. You know, don't try to.
Well, don't even make it Resident Evil 4. Just make another, like, kind of original seeming.
And it's weird
Resident
how
Evil.
their tone was about it too. I mean, to be fair, I mean there is a language barrier. Maybe it's just how the translators were doing it, but they came off really like this was an obvious thing, you know. When it's like no one was asking for Resident Evil 4 remake, but they acted as though like it's a thing everyone's wanted. It's like no.
Well, it's probably because they're just going in order with remakes.
Yeah, and it might be a translation thing. Maybe the actual Japanese creators didn't feel this way, but that's how it sounded when they were talking about it. They were very much like, oh, you know, naturally we gotta do Resident Evil 4 now, and it's like,
You know what I think they should redo
what?
or remake?
What?
Resident or no, not Resident Evil. Red Dead Redemption Undead Nightmare.
That would be cool.
The expansion to Red Dead Redemption.
It would just be cool if they just remade.
Honestly, just remaking Red Dead.
Yeah, and the new engine, that would just be cool.
Yeah, that would, like, imagine how they could make that look.
Yeah.
If they did that with Red Dead Redemption 2 already. Red Dead Redemption 2.
It
is such a long game, but it is a great game. Like, once you actually get to the end and all, and you have 2% completed once you get to the very end, it's a great game. It looks beautiful. The storyline, quite emotional, honestly. It's a great game. Towards the end, I feel like they stray off a little bit because there's a point where you go to the islands, and you're only there for like an hour worth of gameplay, then you're back.
Yeah. Overall.
That was a great game. It was a great game.
The game that I would really want to get a remake, and it might honestly happen because it could be the only thing I could save them from bankruptcy, is a remake of Saints Row 1 and 2.
Yeah?
I would really, 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 really like. And
Well, I heard with the new Saints Row, it got some backlash. Backlash?
It
A
got
lot of
some
people didn't
pretty-
like the initial.
it got some pretty hard backlash.
Yeah, I got some hate. It got a little bit of hate there.
Yeah,
It just didn't seem like a Saints
It's a weird area of the new Saints Row because it makes me sad because I've been a pretty big member of the Saints Row community for a while, and it's really sad because we're all upset, I think, equally, but a lot of people don't understand why they're upset, and I think they're blaming the wrong things. Because, like, I don't know, you go to, like, discussion about the new Saints Row, and all of it is just, the main character is a black woman, this isn't Saints Row, and it's like, no, that is not what the problem is.
No.
Like, I could care less. It's that
Yeah.
it just, that none of this tonally or visually or anything is Saints Row.
What?
You know? Like, they're acting as though it's gone woke, and it's like, Saints Row's always had these options and always had these things. It's just presented in a different way than before.
Like Cyberpunk letting you customize your genitals. But
That game was disappointing. Cool. So
Yeah.
overall, I would really like a remix of Saints Row 1 and 2. But, you know, a lot of games to be excited about, a lot of games to be nervous about. But, you know, the video game industry is still really fun. I love it. In fact, I even like it more in the movie industry, honestly, in terms of following it. I just think it's more fun.
Yeah, because so far, nothing that exciting with the film industry.
Yeah.
I don't know, they keep just continuing things and remaking things. Where's our originality nowadays?
Yeah, where is it?
But oh well. Whatever.
But anyway, this has been the Christian Zander Show. I'm Zander Matrakis.
And I'm Christian Wojnar.
Thank you so much for watching. We hope you enjoyed, and stay tuned for when we never do this again.
Yes, sir. Peace out. Have a
Zander and Christian. Christian and Zander. Zander, Christian, show!
I know we didn't get to talk about it, but I'm not gonna lie to you. I feel like one of the most controversial